And now, via WebEx, Senator Rosen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank Dr. Kahl for being here today and for his willingness to serve. I appreciated our conversation the other day, especially about University of Minnesota. But today I want to focus on Iranian aggression a little bit. Last year, Senator Toomey and I co-led a bipartisan resolution co-sponsored by 58 senators that called on the UN to extend the arms embargo on Iran. That embargo, which limited the flow of sophisticated weapons to Iran and restricted Iran's ability to provide its terrorist proxies with arms, it expired last October. The practical effect of this is that Iran is now free under international law to purchase and transfer a wide array of weapons. So while the U.S. arms embargo on Iran remains in place, we cannot succeed alone. So, Dr. Kahl, if you're confirmed, how will you work to curb the flow of conventional weapons to and from Iran?
Thank you, Senator. I think the UN vote is an example of the challenges we face when we can't bring the rest of the world to our side. And so I think the Biden administration's commitment and my personal commitment, if I'm confirmed, to rebuild our alliances and partners will go a long way in getting the world closer to our views on Iran. I don't think there's a silver bullet to address the very real threat that Iran's destabilizing activities, to include its conventional arms and its arms supplying to its proxies in the region. But I think there's a mix of activities consistent with international law. We should support interdiction efforts where those are possible. We should be building up the capabilities of our regional allies so that they can counterbalance and check Iran. We should be helping vulnerable countries like Iraq and Lebanon build institutions that are more resilient to Iranian influence. Obviously, when Iran takes actions against our own forces, we should defend ourselves and punch back. So I think there's a mix of policies. No one is likely to solve this problem.
But building on that, we do need those partners to deter Iranian aggression. And we want to stop the transfers of conventional arms to terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. And we want to ensure freedom of navigation in that region's waterways. And so what can you do? What can we do in that regard?
Well, in the first instance, I think even as we right-size our presence in the Middle East, we need to remain postured to deter Iranian aggression and to work alongside our allies and partners on precisely the issues that you mentioned. The specific requirements for that will probably require me to be in the department and get more deeply briefed on the issue. But this is important to me. I'm clear-eyed about the threat that Iran poses. And so if I'm confirmed, I look forward to digging into more specifics and working with you, Senator, and others on this committee on this issue, because I think there should be bipartisan agreement on the need to push back on Iran in this area.
And also considering all the issues in this area, this region of the world, if confirmed, how will the Department of Defense work to maintain and enhance Israel's QME to ensure their security and safety in the region as we talk about the many threats against them?
Yes, well, Senator, this is an issue that's very personal to me. When I was the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for the Middle East, I was heavily focused on ensuring Israel's QME, even as we were building up the capabilities of other actors in the region to counterbalance Iran. As you know, there were large arms sales to the UAE, to Saudi Arabia, and others. But as we did that, at least when I was at the Pentagon, we were always mindful that anything we did had to respect our commitment to Israel to ensure that they remained at the cutting edge and achieved a qualitative military edge against any combination of states in the region.
Quickly, I want to just address cyberspace. DOD, their cyber strategy is outlined as a defend-forward approach. So in the wake of SolarWinds, if you're confirmed, how do you plan to alter DOD's cyber strategy to reflect the current threats and challenges that we see, particularly in cyberspace?
Thank you for that. As I mentioned earlier, I support the defend-forward position. I'm obviously not privy to classified operations that have happened in the context of that approach, but I support the general approach. I think it is only part of the equation. We not only have to be able to defend forward, we have to be able to engage in offensive action in response to malign activity. We have to be better at defending our networks. The SolarWinds incident is a reminder of the vulnerability across the U.S. government in that regard. Our networks have to be more resilient so they bounce back further, and we have to work, as I discussed with Senator King, we have to work alongside our allies on new norms and rules of the road to really constrain our adversaries. So if I'm confirmed, I would look to make sure that DoD strategy in this area, both the national defense strategy and the cyber strategy, reflects these different principles, and I look forward to working closely with Cybercom and others on that issue, as well as members of this committee who I know are deeply committed to cybersecurity.
Well, again, my time's expired. Thank you for being here. I look forward to working with you as well.